Hello, basketball fans. It's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer to help you get ready for week 22 of the fantasy basketball season, week 23 of the NBA season. This part of the season's weird. It's exciting for many because it's the playoffs and hopefully your team's in it. Some leagues are already ending. Like you might be in your championship wrapping up. And if that happened, you're still watching, cool. Hi, welcome. Otherwise, we're going to talk for the people that are still in it and competing. We're going to run through a bunch of names. It's going to be a little weird this week because of the way the schedule works. If you haven't seen my schedule preview, I'm linking to it right now. You can go check that out and talk about the best streaming days and stuff because it has heavy influences on most of the players we're going to discuss today. But first is Bones Highland. This isn't about schedule at all. He's been playing hot. There's a good chance he's been rostered, or you've at least been considering it over the last couple of weeks. He's only 38% rostered right now. They have 3 games this week, 2 of them on a good streaming day, so it's not an ideal schedule, but he's got a lot more pop than a lot of the guys we're going to discuss today, which are kind of niche fillers or playing on the right days. Bones is just playing well. Last game, 17-3-7 with 3 steals. Before that, he had 17-6-5. Before that, he had 21-4-2, 17-3-7. Like, you can read this. It's on the screen. He's been playing well. I think he's a good player. Earlier in the season, I did a waiver video, a different one with Bones as a thumbnail. Bones will probably be the thumbnail this week too. And I was excited about him, and then it kind of didn't happen. Like, I got excited because I think he's a good player, and he's off of a lot of people's radar. Well, that should have sprinkled the seeds for I was kind of into it when he started playing well here, and I'm interested in taking the shot. Even with the schedule not being perfect, you know, you get the Tuesday, you get the Thursday. I would pick him up. You're not scared of the Clippers matchup. You don't love the Phoenix matchup. But even Saturday on the third game, you might be able to play him. I think he's worth picking up. He's got 4 games next week, so you might be able to pick him up and just use him, whereas rest of this guy is kind of like spot starts advice for this week type of guys. All right, along those lines, if you watch the other video, you know I like the Knicks schedule this week. 4 games, 3 of them on good streaming days, which has me recommending 2 Knicks players. Names you should know: Manuel Quickley, 38% rostered, and then also Alec Burks. I'm a little more interested in Quickley, even though Burks might be getting more playing time. If you look at him here, I'll put both their stats up, right? We're talking 15-4-5, 18-5-6. You know, there's not a great game against Brooklyn there for Quickley. Like, I like those a little more than I like Burks' 12-5-2, 10-6-2, you know, 5-6-7. Again, Brooklyn just wasn't a good game for the team. So either way, they're both available in more than half of leagues, and the Knicks have a good schedule. I'd be happy to pick anyone up here, especially if you're playing in a points league where these all get condensed, and just go for it. There's nothing too flashy. They're solid players getting, 28, 33 minutes a game, and they're playing on the right days. I think it could help you in your matchups. All right, next couple of guys I got to talk about are big men, especially if you're in categories leagues and looking for rebound. I'm interested in either Drew Eubanks or Jackson Hayes. Names we talked about before. Drew Eubanks is 40% rostered. Jackson Hayes is 32% rostered. Their schedules aren't great as far as streaming days, right? Eubanks has only 1 good streaming day, but his team does play 4 games. And then Jackson Hayes has 4 games, but only 2 of them are on good streaming days. So first thing with Jackson, the nice thing about, even though it's only 2 good streaming days, they're avoiding Wednesday, which is the really heavy load day. So you might still be able to work him in there on those days. You're getting 16-8, 16-4, 21-6. Like, he's getting you at least a block a game. You kind of know what you're getting. You're getting all right points, good percentages, some rebounds. If you're trying to compete in blocks or rebounds, I think Jackson Hayes is worth picking up. You take a look at the days when you need him, you plug him in there. He's not going to hurt you, and you just kind of move on. He might get you some 3-pointers too. Nothing flashy, solid, making strong daily moves. And because of the way their schedule works, if you run out of waiver moves, you might be able to just keep using them, just get that little bit to try and get you across the finish line. Eubanks is a little bit different. So we can look at his box scores last few games: 18-6-3, 10-9-5, 16-10. He's getting you a pretty solid double-double. I like that 20-12 game a lot, right? You're not getting as many blocks. You're not getting threes. Like, he's strictly a center for them. Also, I've heard on ESPN he's not listed as a center unless they just add it. That's a real bummer because he's definitely a center. But if you're looking for just points and rebounds and good percentages, great. You're not getting as many blocks and threes. But the interesting thing about Portland, well, they're not on great waiver days. I talked about it in the preview before. They get 2 games back-to-back against Houston this week. So on Friday and Saturday. Friday's a streaming day. Saturday is a little bit high, but it's not crazy. You might still be able to work them in there. So it's 1 pickup towards the end of the week. If you know you're trying to get some extra rebounds, I really like that. There's a fast-paced matchup from both teams. You pick them up, you plug them in, and they shouldn't be resting him at all, right? We're entering the start of the season where Maybe some playoff teams have to rest some guys. They're all still jockeying for position except for the Suns. So maybe it won't be as silly season, but there's going to be like the Bulls resting Zach and stuff. That's going to come up, and you don't really have to worry about with Eubanks or Jackson. At least I don't believe you do. And so I think you can get some rebounds there without doing anything too flashy. I mentioned the Bulls might have to rest Zach. So Kobe White makes this list. Well, it's not as exciting. If they sit him down for anything, the Bulls have a great schedule, right? They've got 4 games, 2 on the streaming day. But again, they avoid that Wednesday game. They avoid the highest volume day. So Kobe White's rostered in 36%. That's down from where he's been elsewhere in the season. If you look at these box scores, you're not going to be bowled over by it. 14-2-1, 12-1-3. It gets you a solid 2 to 3 3-pointers a game, and the percentages are okay, right? We're talking 45%. But if you need to plug in some threes, and I think he's got room to go up. I monitor the Bulls. If Zach's missing, I want to pick up Kobe. Io's out there in a lot of leagues too. You can pick him up, but just keep an eye on what's going on with the Bulls. Speaking of, this is someone for the watch list. I'm not doing it yet, but Patrick Williams is supposed to finally be back on Monday. I'm not sure that it's going to impact your fantasy playoffs. In fact, I don't know that I'd want to roll the dice on that if you're in the playoffs. That seems a little risky. But if we see something from Patrick Williams or someone else is resting, give it a shot. I'm just excited that hopefully we can tune in and see the young guy play some and get a sense of what they're looking at. If the Bulls get to full strength in the playoffs, they're going to be on the bottom side of the bracket. Probably don't have home court advantage. Might be a first round exit, but another taste of seeing this team back to full strength that we haven't seen since the start of the year. Next, I want to talk about Poku because I've seen people asking about him, and we've talked about him other weeks. And again, to be clear, I'm not trying to crap on the player. I like him as a player. I think he has interesting upside down the road. For fantasy right now, he just had a good game. He had 10, 15 rebounds and 5 assists. Before that, though, 16-6, 17-5. These aren't wildly different from some of the other guys I've talked to you about, so I can't say, oh, it's garbage, skip it. He's 31% rostered. He's available in about 70% of leagues. You can go get him. The thing is, OKC doesn't have a good schedule this week, and every pickup you're making right now, you want to try and get at least 2 games out of that pickup if you can, if you're waiver limited, or at least 1. And OKC, all 3 of their games are on higher volume days. None of them are on the streaming days. And in a week where there's only 3 high volume days, all 3 of them are there. That's a bummer. I'm not going after Poku. I see that he's trending. I can look at the people who have been added, and Poku's getting some attention. I'm sure it's the 15 rebound game, career high. That's great. I'm not doing it this week. I don't think you're stupid for doing it, but I think I want to advise you making more economical moves that you're going to get more bang for your buck than picking up someone that you just can't use this Wednesday. To be clear, the idea of can't use them this Wednesday is I'm assuming your team, if you're in the playoffs, has enough guys that all your roster spots are going to be filled. If you're dealing with a bunch of injuries and he's the best available, that's fine. Steph's out and you shifted everyone and now you can plug in Poku at small forward or something. Yeah, go ahead. But I'm trying to make moves around that day because there are some serious low volume days where if you can get a game and your opponent doesn't have one, those things add up. Speaking of adding up, if you're looking for steals this week, we've talked about other week, Alex Caruso's out there, 41% rostered. The Bulls have a great schedule. I've just been talking about the Bulls. But let's bring this to your attention. Chris Dunn signed a 10-day contract with the Blazers. Chris Dunn's always have great steals. I'm showing it right here. He's only 5% rostered, so he's out there in 95% of leagues. His game count, 3 steals, 4 steals, 1 steal, 2 steal. He just appeared on the team and is instantly getting you all those steals. And as I mentioned, Portland gets to play Houston on back-to-back nights on Friday, Saturday. So Friday's definitely a streaming day. Saturday's not crazy volume. If you're in a tight matchup, you might want to get it ahead of time. In fact, if you don't have someone in Thursday or you've got an empty slot or something, I would be taking a look ahead to get that back-to-back game to get these steals. If your steals aren't something you're competing for, then don't worry about it. But specifically for Categories League, Chris Dunn's out there in almost every league for anyone who's listening. If you just need to get you over the edge, it's a big deal. I mean, 3 or 4 steals, you get back-to-back nights, you throw in 7 steals, that could blow your opponent away. So keep an eye out for tiny moves like that that will make a big impact. I got a couple names for you just for the watch list. Trey Lyles, 13% rostered. He's playing all right for the Kings. He got 19-6. He got 12-12, 9-11. Getting a couple blocks, getting a couple threes. I like that in general, but the Kings don't have a great schedule for this week, so he didn't make the recommendation. They've only got 2 games. Neither of them are on the low volume days, so I can't recommend picking up Trey. But, if you want to pick up Trey Lyles at the end of this week, you're moving on. Keep an eye on it. See how he does against Phoenix and Indiana this week, and maybe there's a move there, so it's watch list only. And then the last guy, I kind of couldn't decide between watch list and ad. So Corey Crispert playing for the Wizards. The Wizards have a good schedule. I talked about it in the prior video, right? And the schedule's kind of loaded towards the end of the week. They play on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, all streaming days. Bucks, Detroit, Golden State. You don't love the matchups. I mean, take against Detroit. But he's playing okay. I think it's more interesting to watch him from a basketball perspective, see what maybe the Wizards have. But if you look at the box scores, 13-2-3, 14-2-1, getting a 2 to 3 3-pointers, a steal. I would rather this in a points league than in a categories league because I really don't know what we're getting at, but he's only 8% rostered. If we get towards the end of the week or we hit Wednesday, you can pick him up, get 3 games because they have an ideal schedule. And at 8% rostered, 92% of you could do this move. And I was trying to look for these little recommendations people might overlook that could have a high impact based on the big availability of the audience. If you got other questions, other names I didn't bring up, Dave, why didn't you talk about Torrey Craig? He hasn't missed a shot in literally the last 2 games. Whatever you want, go ahead and hit me up in the comments down below. Try and stay on top of it. Hopefully you're doing well in your season or at least having fun. Remember, if things don't go the way or people are out resting or whatever, like fantasy's supposed to be fun. Try to be zen about it. We control what we can. And the rest, you make the best moves and sometimes they don't work, right? Just like playing poker, you play the cards you're dealt and hope for the best with the odds. Thank you so much for watching. I'm wishing you all the luck. Make the moves, have some fun, go out and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.